Good afternoon, everyone from the UK. Today, I will be your moderator. My name is Jadranka Dervišević-Kitarić, and I'm Executive Director of the British Serbian Chamber of Commerce in the UK. From now, I will be speaking in Serbian, but later I will speak again in English. Dragi svi, pre nego što krenemo, ja bih vas molila da ukoliko je potreban prevod, pritisnite na dugme koje se nalazi dole, koje se zove Translate or Interpretation. Dragi učesnici webinara, spremni za izvoz kako izvoziti sveže voće i povrće na tržište Velike Britanije. Hvala vam puno na prisustvu danas i sigurni smo da će današnje obraćanje i diskusija biti od značaja za regionalne proizvođače hrane kod plasmana i na ovo dinamično i sve značajnije evropsko i svetsko tržište. Ovo je četvrti webinar u serijalu usmeren ka pružanju smernica za izvoz na strana tržišta, gde smo putem prethodnih predstavili potencijalne izvoze na tržište Sjedinjenih Američkih Država i Bliskog istoka. Elektronske vodiče za izvoz svežeg, smrznutog i prerađenog voća i povrća na Sjedinjene Američke Države i Bliskog istoka sa online videima sa vodećim ekspertima u oblastima tehnologije hrane, istraživanja tržišta, kao i brendiranja, online prodaje, možete da pronađete na sajtu i YouTube-u kanala Razvojne agencije Srbije. Mi smo jako svedoci da se spoljno-politička situacija menja i da je neophodno da se otvore nova tržišta za prehrambene proizvode iz regiona Zapadnog Balkana. Iz navedenog razloga pravi je trenutak da se diversifikacijom i otvaranjem novih tržišta s potencijalnim omogući domaćim proizvođačima da se bolje pozicioniraju i da obezbede stabilno i dugoročno snabdevanje tih tržišta voćem i povrćem iz našeg regiona. Upravo je to bila ideja vodilja za organizaciju današnjeg webinara o mogućnostima izvoza i plasmana proizvoda na tržište UK-a. Nakon Brexita, naravno, tržište hrane u Velikoj Britaniji raste po stopi od 9%, uz očekivanje i daljeg širenja tržišta i povećanje potražnje za svežim, smrznutim, prerađenim povrćem i voćem, privatnim markom proizvoda i premium proizvodima. Tržište pruža značajne mogućnosti za plasman i prodaju hrane, posebno u takozvanom niš segmentima tržišta, koje mogu biti od posebnog interesovanja za regionalne izvoznike visoko kvalitetnih proizvoda. Danas imam priliku da predstavimo i čujemo sjajne govornike, stručnjake u oblasti plasmana i pozicioniranja prehrambenih proizvoda na tržištu Velike Britanije, uvoznika, distributera, ali također 3 sjajna govornika iz Zapadnog Balkana koji već uspešno posluju na ovom tržištu ili su u procesu da budu uspešni. Ja bih vas također molila, ako imate sva pitanja, da postavite u opciji chat koja se nalazi na ekranu, gdje ćemo na kraju webinara posle govornika i pitati govornike da odgovore. Hvala vam puno na tome. Ja bih sada prešla na prvog našeg govornika, gospodina Emanuela Hidier. Good afternoon, Mr. Emanuel.
Thank you so much, Jadranka.
Thank you for having us today.
So I'm Emmanuel Hidier. I'm a senior economist at the FAO Investment Center. And first of all, on behalf of FAO, I would like to thank our audience for joining on a hot July afternoon. I don't know if it's hot in Belgrade, but definitely in Rome. And as you know, and as Jadranka mentioned, this is a seminar in a series of webinars organized in the context of a project that FAO implement with the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development and all the partners of FAO. The objective really of this project is to help companies from the Western Balkans focusing on fruit and vegetable to diversify their export markets. I know that you are all aware that there's a lot of interest around the globe right now on diversification of actually import sources for food security reasons, but there's also a strong interest to diversify export destinations, both for managing your risks better. You never know how market can evolve, can be closed, can on the other hand open up, but also to generate more margins whenever it's possible. So I will not repeat the achievements of the project because Jadranka already mentioned them. I will just say that I'm very happy today that we will focus on the UK market, which is an important and value-added market for the Western Balkans. Special hello to our colleague Alexandra from the EBRD, who is the head of the Advice for Small Business Unit, with which we work. A few words to whet your appetite on the next activities on the project, in case I don't have the occasion later on. After the UK market, we'll have a focus on Nordic markets. And we will also have a deep dive on the sector that I personally very like and that is very important for the region. It's the wine market. We aim at organizing a regional conference in October with the players for that market in the Western Balkans. So I won't say more, I just hope that we will have very lively discussions and also hopefully that we will provide practical information for the companies. That's really our aim throughout this project. So thank you again for joining and have a good webinar.
Dear Emmanuel, thank you very much for a very insightful talk about and entering in our webinar. I will now speak to my colleague, Richard Robinson.
Thank you, Jadranka.
My
name is Richard Robinson. I'm the Executive Director of the British Serbian Chamber of Commerce based in Belgrade. It's a delight that we're working with the FAO and the EBRD coming together for this really interesting and important seminar. The UK food and drink sector is always open to novel, foreign and organic and healthy products across the spectrum. I think it's worth, whilst it's clear that it's a demanding market to sell into, the buyers are demanding. Of course, there are various market entry strategies, and I'm sure you'll hear lots more about this in the rest of this seminar. The important thing to take away at this stage is that there are already successful Serbian and Western Balkans producers selling into the UK, selling to the food retailers, and there's many more possibilities. Now is a particularly good time to enter the market, post-Brexit, post-COVID, and the new opportunities are created even this year with the consequences of increased energy costs, which has meant that particularly UK growers who grow under glass are cutting back on the amounts that they're producing for this year and next year as a result. So there are lots of new and developing opportunities. As the British Serbian Chamber of Commerce is the only business organization, as you can see, with a presence both in Serbia and in the UK, we have been working, promoting the food and drink sector over several years. Most recently, we took several small Serbian producers to IFE, the International Food and Drink Exhibition in London in March. And already the people who came with us have had some successful leads and developing, and I suspect you will hear more about that later. So my sincere hope for this is that you go away excited by the opportunities, recognizing the work that is needed to actually, before you can even approach the UK, but most importantly, understanding that the FAO, the EBRD, and the BSCC will be able to continue to support you as you go forward. I look forward to hearing all your plans after this seminar. Thank you very much.
Dear Richard, I hope you will stay with us towards the end. And if any of our guests have a question, please send to the chat, so Richard will be able to answer anything in relation between Serbia and Britain. I would like also to mention today that we have British Bosnian Chamber representative Lilian, who also have representative, they're recently established, and they also have representative in the UK and in Sarajevo. Thank you very much, Richard. We will move on now to Alexandra. I will speak in Serbian because our guest today. Današnji webinar je također organizuje u okviru projekta Organizacije za hranu i poljoprivredu Ujedinjenih nacija FAO i Evropske banke za obnovu i razvoj EBRD pod nazivom Podrška diversifikaciji izvoza poljoprivrednog i prehrambenog sektora Zapadnog Balkana i Istočne Evrope, koji je usmeren ka pružanju podrške domaćim kompanijama u pristupu novim tržištima i jačanju konkurentnosti poljoprivrednog i prehrambenog sektora. S tim u vezi, drago mi je danas da vam predstavim i našu Aleksandru Miladinović, koja je menadžer sektora za podršku malim biznisima u Evropskoj banci za obnovu i razvoj u Srbiji. Malo smo imali tehničkih problema, ali se nadam da nas, Aleksandra, da li se sada lepo čujemo?
Ja vas sada čujem, a nadam se i vi mene.
Mi vas čujemo. Hvala vam puno, Aleksandra.
Hvala puno vama i mnogo mi je drago da sam ipak uspela da se na kraju povežem na ovaj divni skup. Hvala unapred kolegama koji će mi pomoći da me prate slajdovima, pošto sam povezana preko telefona, tako da snaći ćemo se. Bar smo naučili tokom ove 2 godine da smo fleksibilni, tako da još jednom hvala na pozivu i stvarno zadovoljstvo mi je da budemo deo ovog projekta i hvala puno i FAO na divnoj saradnji i Privrednoj komori Britanije. Ja dolazim iz tima Evropske banke koji praktično kroz savjetodavnu podršku razvija mala i srednja preduzeća i program je aktivan u celom regionu, dosta dugo, još od 1993. godine smo aktivni u regionu i do sada podržali preko nekih 3000, mislim da smo prešli i ove brojeve ovde do sada. To je prosek nekih 240 otprilike projekata godišnje, najveći deo toga budu privrednici iz Srbije. Mi smo finansirani i sarađujemo sa različitim donatorima. Najveći donator jeste Evropska unija, ali su nam svakako značajni donatori i Švedske razvojne agencije, Luksemburga, Norveške i ostalih donatora koji kroz različite inicijative targetuju praktično različite grupe preduzetnika. Ali u principu svi ovi donatori i sva naša podrška se plasira u privredu koristeći 2 osnovna, da kažem, instrumenta, odnosno kroz podršku i saradnju sa domaćim konsultantima i sa međunarodnim ekspertima. Razlika je u tome što praktično, zavisno od vrste ekspertize koja je potrebna, mi uključujemo i angažujemo i domaću ili inostranu ekspertizu, onu koja nije prisutna i dostupna na lokalnom tržištu. Ovi projekti sa lokalnim ekspertima traju nešto kraće i malo je manji iznos, mislim, ukupan budžet projekta, a projekti koji angažuju međunarodne eksperte im traju otprilike godinu dana, godinu i po dana i tu je budžet nešto ozbiljniji, oko 40.000 evra. Oba instrumenta uključuju to učešće firme, odnosno da kažem zajednički finansiramo taj projekat. Oblasti koje mi podržavamo su, zaista ovde su navedene neke oblasti, ali ova lista zaista nije, ako možemo, da, Milice, hvala ti, da, otprilike na sledećem slajdu smo, još jedan, hvala ti. Znači, oblasti koje podržavamo su sve oblasti poslovnog savetovanja, od strateškog planiranja, digitalizacije, unapređenja organizacije ljudskih resursa, uvođenja standarda kvaliteta jako bitnih za izvoznike, optimizacija procesa proizvodnje, sad sve traženiji projekti koji su u tim zelenim oblastima, zaštita životne sredine, kao i poboljšanje korišćenja energije, uvođenje nekih obnovljivih izvora energije, potom efikasno korišćenje izvora finansiranja, što je takođe jako bitno i za izvoznike. Mi, pored ovih projekata koje sam pomenula, praktično imamo i te druge aktivnosti, pa evo i ovo je jedna od tih, da u saradnji sa različitim partnerima pokušavamo da razvijamo i tržište i naše preduzetnike, da li kroz različite neke vrste obuka, podizanja svesti o značaju nekih tema ili neki treninga, različiti su nam instrumenti kojima se koristimo da razvijemo kapacitet naših izvoznika. I uvek smo voljni da čujemo input od strane izvoznika, šta je to što je potrebno, pa da se tu zajedno fokusiramo i da razvijemo nešto. Imamo tu fleksibilnost i otvorenost da zajednički napravimo ono što najbolje odgovara njihovim potrebama. Ako možemo na sledeći slajd, hvala. Ovo su neki osnovni kriterijumi koje su to firme koje mi možemo da pomognemo kroz ovaj program. Ovde stvarno stoji uglavnom do 500 zaposlenih. Imamo sada i tu fleksibilnost, zahvaljujući otvorenosti donatora, da sarađujemo i sa većim firmama koje upošljavaju veći broj radnika. Treba da su firme, da imaju to održivo poslovanje, najmanje 2 godine poslovanja, da su većinski privatno domaće vlasništvo i da pokazuju taj potencijal za rastom, u stvari za nekim inoviranjem i razvojem i da su spremni da praktično tu promenu i uvode u svoje sisteme. Ja sam ovde, ako odemo na sledeći slajd, samo sam htela da podelimo ovako svi zajedno neke osnovne stvari. Znači, naš portfolio u principu ima i sadrži naravno i proizvodne i uslužne firme. 43% od ukupnog našeg portfolija su praktično izvoznici i mi sarađujemo sa tim firmama i stvarno gradimo neki partnerski odnos nakon završetka projekta, savetodavnog projekta koji smo pomogli. Mi praktično radimo i te evaluacije takozvane i ta statistika kaže da je 50% ovih klijenata koji su bili pomognuti kroz naš program da zapravo ide ka povećanju izvoza. I u proseku je to od tog sad broja izvoznih firmi, neki prosek tu bude oko $500.000 u apsolutnom iznosu je prosečno povećanje izvoza. Od preduzeća, stvarno rekla sam da možemo da pomognemo firmu za sve oblasti. Sad možda neke teme su možda malo češće za izvoznike, da li je to ta standardizacija i prosto posjedovanje tih dokaza da se procesi prate i kvalitet da se održava, ili optimizacija proizvodnje ili neko istraživanje tržišta gde, na primjer, firme pokušavaju da uđu na neka tržišta na kojima do sada nisu bili, ili upoznavanje sa regulativama tog tržišta ili novog ili ono na kome bi se firma širila. Sve su to neke teme koje su nam bile deo projekta koje smo do sada radili. Naravno, digitalizacija i taj marketing aspekt je nešto što je uvek bitno. Ako odemo na sledeći slajd, da samo kratko vam predstavim i par tih primjera naše podrške, bez da pominjemo imena firmi, ali dosta je u Srbiji izvoznika voća i povrća, naročito na tržište Velike Britanije, i mi u svom portfoliju imamo dosta firmi koje se time bave. 35% je izvoz praktično u zemlje regiona ili EU ili UK tržište. I kod ove konkretne firme je bila potreba da se implementira taj standard kvaliteta i zaista je evaluacija pokazala da od toga kako se radi kontrola proizvodnje, da li su definisane sve te procedure koje i ta sledljivost proizvoda je poboljšana. Ono što je uvek primetno nakon saradnje sa konsultantima je taj promenjen mindset, prosto navike i ponašanje radnika je isto nešto što je značajan rezultat rada sa konsultantima, i sve to vodi do nekog boljeg pozicioniranja klijenta na tržištu i dobijanja nekih novih klijenata u inostranstvu. Ova firma konkretno je imala i povećanje izvoza za 30%, znači godinu dana nakon završetka našeg zajedničkog projekta. Još jedan primer preduzeća koje praktično, ako možemo na sledeći slajd, oni su proizvođači linija za proizvodnju hrane, takođe su 1/3 njihovog proizvodnog programa je za izvoz, i oni su u saradnji sa nama implementirali softversko rešenje za barkod obeležavanje i praćenje proizvoda. I pored nekih zaista ušteda koje su se desile u samom procesu proizvodnje i ubrzanje dosta taj proces proizvodnje, smanjili su i troškovi, izvoz se je povećao, i sada mi i nastavit ćemo da radimo sa ovom firmom za neki naredni projekat koji se tiče digitalizacije. Ja nisam htela ovde da vas opterećujem nekim detaljima vezano za način apliciranja i te, da kažem, administrativne stvari. Stojim na raspolaganju za svako pitanje, ali više nam je ideja bila da predstavimo kako to Evropska banka pomaže kroz savetodavnu podršku izvoznike i negde podstiče njihove aktivnosti. Mnogo vam hvala na pažnji i nadam se da sam se dobro čula.
Aleksandra, odlično ste se čuli. Mogu reći da je vaša prezentacija izuzetno informativna, detaljna, ali...
Hvala puno.
Hvala vam puno na učešću. Ja bih također zamolila da prosledimo pitanja. Sigurno sam, Aleksandra, će biti jako puno posle vaše prezentacije. Molim vas slobodno na srpskom, na engleskom, kako se osjećate, tu je chat. Ja bih sada prešla na panel diskusiju. Pretpostavljam da svi čekate da čujete od naših divnih eksperata. Sada ću preći na engleski, zato što je lakše da komuniciram na engleskom. Nadam se da nas svi dobro čujete. Simon, are you there? Hi, Simon. Good afternoon.
I am indeed, Jadranka. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And lovely to see you today. I would like to mention we have known Simon Waring, who is the owner and director of the Green Seed UK for, I would say, more than 5 years, meeting at exhibitions. You asking Jadranka what's going on, new products, oh God, lovely, I've seen that, that's wonderful, keep doing it. So here we are today, and I really would like to bring much closer the UK market to today's webinar. Before we start, I know that you're aware you will mention lots of topics, but one, I would say that for many years we've been trying and helping the companies from Serbia and the region. We notice this incredibly competitive market. Whole world is here. That's true, I would say. I see high standards, food standards, incredibly. But also there's a big opportunity. I know some people like the word Brexit, some don't, but here we are, Brexit happened, and I can see more and more requests from Britain towards the region. I see that our regional companies would like to enter the market. But most of all, I would like to mention something very important, that the UK market, which Alexandra also mentioned, they're very keen on innovation. That's what is UK about. Innovative, new product, interesting, healthy, something which is not yet here. Is it that true, Simon? Would you like to share with us your views, and you've been in the business for, may I say, 25, 30 years?
It is almost that amount of time, I'm afraid.
Floor is yours, Simon.
But I think you're absolutely right. I'm going to share a few slides with everybody, but I suppose one of the key things is we probably don't have a particularly strong food and drink culture within the UK, if you compare us to the French or the Italians, for example. So we've always had this attitude that we should welcome innovation from elsewhere, and sometimes we adapt it and we put our own spin on it, but we're always looking outside for new things, and that's definitely a plus about dealing with the UK, I think. So I'm just going to share a presentation with you.
Simon, or shall we say to everyone that they have a button there, interpretation, to listen in English, translated in Serbian, please? Oh, sorry, I should say in Serbian. Molim vas za translation, imate dole interpretation and translation na screenu sa engleskog na srpski. Hvala. Thank you, Simon. I was just reminding for translation.
Absolutely. And if I'm speaking too fast at any time for the translators, please just interrupt me. That's fine.
Thank you, Simon.
Okay, so let me try it this way. Just a tiny bit of background about Green Seed. We basically specialize in food and drink. That's what we know. That's what we love. We've all got an international background, 25 years or so of experience. And I run our business in the UK, but we also have offices in many other European countries and in the States, as you can see on this map. We've got 10 offices, and we work very closely with the world's biggest retailers and many of the small ones as well, and food service operators, and also distributors, of course, in the marketplace. Essentially what we do is, I suppose we help companies to identify the right priority opportunities for their products, and then to create the best strategies to succeed in the market. And what we think makes us unique is the quality of our contact network, and that's with all aspects of the supply chain, whether it's buyers themselves or distributors and importers, or third-party logistic firms, etc., etc. We work with both the mainstream big retailers, but also the more specialist operators, the gourmet food stores, the health food channel, and so on, which I know many of you may be interested in supplying, and food service, and also business to business as well. And each of our offices, including the UK, has a sales team as well that some of our clients use to help win listings and then grow business with those accounts. I won't explain all of this, but essentially what we do is we help you with the preparation, We put the right plans together and we make sure that they make sense commercially in terms of pricing. We then act as a sales force or help you to find other partners to help. And then, of course, importantly, with the marketing side of things, to ensure that the branding, the proposition is right, and that the communication, especially in social media, but in other ways as well, helps to increase awareness of your products and get them to move off the shelf. And we work with all sorts of different food companies from all over the world. Some of them are sort of medium or large companies, but the majority are fairly small businesses. Often they are SMEs who are perhaps, having achieved a little bit of success in their home market, have decided to explore what they could do internationally. And we also work with trade organizations, marketing boards, and governmental export agencies, and have obviously enjoyed our association with Serbia and the USAID scheme in the past. So that's a little bit about green seed. Let me now introduce you a little bit to the UK market. Okay, the first thing to say is it's pretty big. Population moving fast towards 70 million now. A lot of the population is based in big cities, obviously London being the biggest one, 9 million plus inhabitants already. So it's as big as some of the smaller countries in Europe, if you like. Some brands will therefore think, to be honest, I don't need to sell to all of the UK. I can just sell my products in London or in other urban environments. And that can be a good strategy for food and drink products. I think by temperament, we're very experimental and cosmopolitan. UK shoppers don't just want to buy specialities from home. They're always eager to try out new things, and retailers are keen to differentiate themselves from one another by offering different products from their competitors. And we've mentioned the word innovation already probably half a dozen times so far in this webinar, and that's very true. I think there's an important distinction about the UK shopper, where we talk about value in the UK. We don't just mean price, which perhaps in many countries it might be. We mean a combination of quality and price. And we've got a large niche of the population who are really interested in authentic food and drink. So food and drink which has a provenance and heritage. So if you're selling product that have a special reason for coming from Serbia or somewhere else in the Western Balkans, that can be a message which chimes very well with UK consumers. In terms of food trends, we could talk about this all day, but some of the key messages are about plant-based food, which has been growing very strongly, meat alternatives, and especially dairy alternatives, free from food, which has been in growth for a few years now, health in general, but especially gut health. So products like kefir and kombucha, fermented foods in general, have got a lot of awareness lately. And anything that's natural and clean label, in other words, without artificial additives and colorings and so on in the product. I mentioned just before, we certainly do have some culinary identity, but is not as overwhelming as in some countries. But our manufacturers are very good at producing innovative products and adapting international food cuisine. And it's not just our manufacturers. Obviously, we want to import products which do that as well. We're a very concentrated market. So the top 4 biggest retailers account for 68% of the total grocery market, and the top 4 just under 80%. So if you get into one of the bigger retailers, you can have immediate access to a large range of the population. And all these retailers work across the whole country. So this is unlike the US market, for example, or some other European markets, we don't really have any regional players. And that has its advantages and disadvantages. The advantages, if you get into Tesco or Sainsbury's, great. You're selling across the UK, but it's therefore tougher and it's harder to experiment in a smaller regional retailer. Definitely opportunities for brands. And in the last few years, the ones that can disrupt the category, in other words, offer something fresh and different from the legacy brands who've been dominating the supermarket shelves for many decades. So that the innovative SMEs, if you like, have done well in the last few years, although during COVID, that balance started to reverse a little because retailers needed to be sure of supply with big producers. But it's now coming back again. You know, we're now very much in the post-COVID era. Another important point to make is private label. So own label food and drink is really important in the UK. It's about 50% of the total retail market, and the value share is almost as high as the volume share. In other words, people pay a lot for good quality private label products. Lots of different route to market options. So it's not just the big supermarkets. There are plenty of other ways into the market. And of course, we're part of Europe geographically, but we're not part of the EU anymore. We still have a very strong and close relationship with continental Europe, and things are settling down, and UK buyers and exporters are looking to markets beyond the EU as well, increasingly now. A few words about the grocery market. It's about the second biggest in Europe overall, about the same size as France, with Germany being the biggest. In sterling, that means it's over 200 billion. So there's a lot of market to go for. We're mostly a supermarkets nation. We don't have many hypermarkets, but we've got an increasing number of discounter stores and also convenience stores. And that discount sector, Aldi and Lidl, is growing in importance, and it now accounts for about 16% of total grocery. Nothing like 45% in Germany, for example, but still it's grown very fast for the UK. And the biggest retailers are gradually losing their stranglehold on the market. Their share is reducing a little bit over time because the discounters and online retailers are beginning to take share. And it's convenience and online and discounting. Those are the three areas of growth that we predict in the future. I'm not going to talk through these numbers, but I just want to give you a quick picture of some of the biggest retailers in the UK. So Tesco, I'm sure many, if not all of you, will have heard of Tesco, is the biggest supermarket chain in the UK, around 28% of the grocery market. And it's almost twice as big as, or it's as big as the next two competitors, Sainsbury's and Asda. Sainsbury's is a mainstream supermarket with a little bit higher quality, perhaps, ranges than Tesco, whereas Asda is much more of a lower priced retailer. Until recently, it was part of the Walmart family, so it focuses very much on everyday low price. Morrison's is also a national retailer. Its history is more in the north of the country, and again, it's focused very much on price, although it does have a lot of its own food production in meat and in fish, and it focuses on its fresh and natural produce. The cooperative is the leading neighborhood retailer, the biggest convenience store chain, although Tesco and Sainsbury's also have a lot of small stores. And then Waitrose is a very interesting, relatively small compared to the others, has 5% of the market, but perhaps of all of these retailers is the most focused on looking for interesting new international specialities, and its shoppers are more affluent, and they're happy to buy premium products that are in store in Waitrose. So to give you an example of the difference, if you think of chorizo sausage from Spain, if you go to Tesco, even though it's the biggest retailer, you will find probably just 2 or maybe 3 items of chorizo. One will be spicy, one will be natural. In Waitrose, you find 27 different varieties of chorizo. So just to give you a flavor of the difference in styles of retail. Not just these big supermarket chains, there is the health food channel. The biggest retailer is called Holland & Barrett. There is a northern-based supermarket chain. The one regional supermarket chain that does exist has about 28 stores called Booths. There is Ocado, which is an online, a pure play online retailer, has grown very strongly in the last 2 years. And then there are, of course, department stores, food halls, natural food stores like Whole Foods, Costco, the wholesaler, even Boots the chemist, which sells a lot of healthier food and drink. So there are lots of different options to look at. It's not just the big supermarkets. And just to mention about online, because it's been the biggest change in the UK market in the last 2 years, online sales at their peak during the pandemic, about 1 year ago, accounted for over 15% of total grocery. And before the pandemic, it was 7% of total grocery, which is already much higher than most countries in Europe. So it more than doubled. And now it's settled down, but it's still very, very strong. So still 12 or 13% of the total market. And it's now part of the everyday shopping habit. So whether you go to online specialist shops like Ocado, or whether you buy online from Tesco or Sainsbury's or Amazon even, this is a regular part of everyone's shopping habits, even the older population now. So approaching 1/5 of the 65 and over age group are now shopping for grocery online, which is double the level of what it used to be before the pandemic. Private label, I mentioned, again, it could be an interesting strategy for some of you if you prefer to supply your products to B2B customers or to retailers directly, rather than a brand, because we're certainly open to that and the retailers are always looking for new producers, not just the cheapest price, but also the most interesting ranges, because we have everything from the very basic private label through to everyday ranges, through to more premium ranges, which sell especially well during Christmas time and other event times during the year. So for example, Tesco Finest or Sainsbury's Taste the Difference. And they really are great quality products. Some of them are claimed to be at least restaurant quality, but certainly more than a match for many brands. And we have Marks and Spencer in the UK as well, which sells virtually no brands at all in its stores. Nearly everything is private label, and Marks and Spencer is one of the most premium stores, a little bit like Waitrose in the UK. In other words, it's all about quality and it's about private label. And UK consumers really do value private label products, as you can see. They believe them to be at least as good as brands, and many of them better. So just a few thoughts for you. There's obviously a lot to understand about the UK, but I think in terms of preparation, you need to think about where what you produce could fit within the category within the UK. Can it actually add something which isn't already available in terms of quality or innovation? So you need to actually understand what's going on in the UK first to carry out an assessment of the opportunity and then to make a plan. And you need to get your products checked in the UK as well to avoid mistakes. So it could be about the taste of different flavors, some of which appeal, some of which don't appeal. There could be some packaging issues which need to be addressed, and packaging and branding is a really, really important thing in the UK. So you have to make your product look great in order for a buyer to consider putting it on their shelf. The same thing goes for online. It has to look good, even if you're looking only digitally. So you then put together your strategy. Which ones are you going to focus on? Do you need to adapt your products in any way? Are you going to focus on multiple retailers or on specialist stores or food service? Don't try and do everything at once. Just focus on where you have the greatest opportunities. And then, of course, it's planning commercially. So looking at what your retail price should be based on the margins for the trade and your logistics costs. And of course, promotional investment, which is important both with the retailer, but also talking to consumers to make them aware about your products. And you need to think, what price point will you target to appeal to the market? And then, of course, there is the pitch, the all-important message to the retailer or the end customer. And even if it's a distributor, you need to treat them like a buyer. You need to persuade them that they really need to pay attention to you. So you need to tell your story, what makes you unique, how you're really going to make a difference to the market, because that's what buyers are looking at. And you need to tailor your presentation, adapt it according to each particular buyer's needs. Another thought just to leave you with, we have a few food and drink exhibitions in the UK, which could be a good way to at least start to explore the market if you haven't already. So you might want to time a visit to the UK around one of these exhibitions. The next one in the calendar is the Specialty Fine Food Fair, which is very much all about artisan fine foods. So if you're in that arena, that could be worth taking a look at, and at the same time, obviously visiting some stores while you're over. IFE, obviously there was a delegation of SMEs from Serbia at IFE, and it sounds like some good leads were generated. That's the biggest show in the UK, and it specializes uniquely in food and drink. And the next version of that show takes place next March. And then there are 2 or 3 others I thought I'd draw your attention to as well. If you're in the natural health organic arena, there is the Natural Organic Products Europe show. The next one of those is in April 2023, so could be worth considering exhibiting or even visiting. The Hotel Restaurant Catering Show, which is all about food service, clearly, that takes place at the same time as IFE, so next March 2023. And then a food to go show, a very dynamic show if you've got products suitable for cafes and coffee shops and that food to go arena, which is beginning to boom again after obviously suffering so much during the pandemic. Then there's the lunch exhibition, which takes place this September. So that's a few to think about there. And if you want to talk to me or to Greenseed at any point in the future, always happy to discuss how we might be able to help you in a number of different ways. And it's great to meet you today. And I think I've used my allotted time, so I'll hand back to Jadranka, and happy to take any questions now or during the panel discussion.
Thank you very much, Simon. I would like to say that there are lots of good news from the UK market after Brexit. It seems it's settling, growing, demand for the new products. So for me, that was very, very interesting, even though I live here in the UK. Hopefully, we will have lots of questions for you, Simon. Don't go. Now, I would like to move to Mike Ruperelia, who is the owner director of Card Edge Limited, the UK. Good afternoon, Mike. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon to everybody, in fact. And my friend Simon has said most of the things which I was going to let you guys know. I really appreciate what he said. He's covered a lot of ground on the whole aspect of bringing the food into UK. So the opportunities are very, very good, but it's how you put it up and how you process, through how you can go about doing the things into UK. So,
Mike, may I just stop you there? I like to bring closer to our audience about you. Your experience is 35 years, more than 35, import distributor with all products, of course, to the retail in the UK and Europe. And from today's conversation, you're the one who's dealing every day, and you'll hear from producers who would like to get into the market, private labeling, new products, all sorts of things. So would you be kind to let us, from your perspective, about private labeling? What is that? How important it is? Because I see there is a big opportunity for the regional companies and producers how to enter in the market. And then we will move what the buyers of all those retail stores you work with, what they look for. And the next we'll get next question, but perhaps you start with this very important.
well, UK on brand labels, the buyers are looking at, good food, good produce, and also very keen prices. All large retailers are always looking for their own brand labels as well. Again, it's a very big market in UK. So it depends on the product, depends on the price. Also, you can approach the big retailers directly as well. We deal with our own brands as well, which we supply into UK, into the retailers at the moment. There's three sectors of the markets, like Simon said. There is the top end, which is the supermarkets. Then there's a sector which is the discounters. And then the third sector is the wholesalers, where you can produce and go approach them very easily. So it's not a hard market to get into.
You don't think so?
No.
But I always find buyers are very important, and then then it's very difficult to meet with them. I don't know if that's practice still. Maybe the dynamics of the UK market is changing. Maybe they will be after us for the products. What is your view?
But basically, the buyers are easy to approach, with all the all the supermarkets, all the discounters. It really depends on the product you bring in. And also there is our quality they are looking at, the price, and it also, the product needs to be looking like a UK product,
Right.
Basically that's important. For them, the product must be an A-grade product rather than, giving them a lower product with a lower price. So it works both ways, and it's very easy and approachable to speak to the buyers. All you need is speak to the buyers, invite the buyers to come and see, what products are being produced, where it's been produced, and the hygiene, and also how cost effective each product would be.
So you believe the first start point, invite them to come and to visit those fabulous people, producers on the ground, to talk to them, to see the production, to see the field, to agree when you talk to people, when you know them. Everything is different, isn't it?
It is different, but they are quite approachable. You can either go through a distributor to approach to the buyers, or you can even approach directly as well. So there is no harm even approaching to the direct to the supermarkets, buyers. It's very easy to speak to them. And I'm sure, you can get into it without problems.
Well, that is all good news today. I can't believe how many good news we have today.
Yeah.
From your perspective, have you managed anything from South and Eastern Europe products? You heard about lots of good fruits, very, very sweet, very good quality. And I'm sure the next speaker will give in details about the fruits frozen, how good they are.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, Mike, you would like to bring some different angle from our speakers so far? Importance, once when buyers we invite to come to visit the producers, the next step, they need to be ready actually before they come and talk again or exhibit in these, let's say, IFM, specialty food, all of them, natural food. What is your view?
The view is basically, they need to come and visit the supermarkets and see what they're selling into their supermarkets. They then need to look at the packaging as well, on each product, say, for example, if there is apples, how they're packed, how they've been produced, and how they can sell in the supermarket shelves as well. And then basically you can either come to visit, one of the big wholesaler or person who can approach on your behalf to the buyers, or they can approach directly as well. So there are two ways you can do it. Once you have done that, it'll be very easy and very, price sensitive is another thing. Marketing is another problem you need to face as well. So basically, if you can give all those views and then speak to the buyers, they're very easy and approachable. Once you invited them and they looked at your products, then it's simple. They will tell you and guide you as well. So it's not just one way, it's two ways as well.
Mike, this is really, I'm very pleased to hear that it's not that difficult, obviously. When you have right people, we talk to right, and as a chamber, I'm sure we'll make even more to bring more people in trade mission to come and visit Serbia and the region. Mike, what I would like to do, please stay with us, because we have another 3 more fantastic producers from Serbia and the region and Bosnia, and to hear more what they do and how they do. So questions will be later. And stay with us, probably in the 15 minutes. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Ja ću sada, I will start in Serbian again. Sljedeći govornik je divan Miloš Jeremić iz kompanije Laki. Miloše, da li se čujemo? Uključite da vas čujemo.
Da, čujemo se, odlično.
Divno. Moram da vam kažem da maline koje sam obišla pre 2 dana u vaše malinjako, se tako kaže, su mnogo lepše nego na slici, samo da znate, mnogo ukusnije.
Pa drago mi je da je tako, baš mi je drago.
Ja bih da napomenem da smo imali posetu Srbije 3 dana, obilazili smo proizvođače u Vojvodini jabuka, a također smo posetili naše članove Floru u Ivanjici, kao i Miloša Laki u Arilju. Hvala puno na lepoj poseti. Puno sam naučila i ja sama nisam mogla da verujem da naše maline su jedne od najboljih na svetu, čak po hektaru koliko se proizvodi. Ali vi ne želite o tome da pričate, čekate rezultate da budu i bolji nego od prošle godine. Danas bih vas zamolila da nam, vi ste mi stalno pričali o inovacijama i to mi se jako dopada, jer bez inovacija ne možemo nigde da idemo napred. Kao što vidite, svi govornici danas su stres, kako da kažem, da su vrlo potencirali na reči inovacija. Ja znam da ste vi lideri u tome. Ja bih vas zamolila da nam predstavite više o vama. Sigurno sam, svi znaju o Lakiju, ali oni koji ne znaju, i uopšte o marketu tržišta Srbije. Molim vas, hvala vam puno.
Okay, should I speak in English or Serbian? What's more? Nisam čuo.
Sorry, kako vam je jednostavnije, Miloše?
Okay, we can speak in English. Maybe it's better.
The British are excellent. Thank you, Miloš.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, first, thank you, Adarka, for such a nice introduction. I'm glad that you visited us, and I'm glad. I want to thank the organizers of this webinar. We were able to hear some very interesting points, from Simon and Mike. Hopefully, will be interesting as well. Well, you said about you talked about innovations. I think that is very important. What we are doing. I will get back later to our business in UK, but just to know this, that raspberry is our main business in production in Serbia. We are producing it for 30-40 years here in Serbia, and we are producing it more or less the same way as we did all this time. So a couple of years ago, in cooperation with agriculture faculty, with the people that are very experienced in this business, we decided to start a pilot project with just to show our farmers what we can do and what we can achieve in growing raspberries. So just next to our factory, 2 years ago, we started a project, and already this year we expect about 35 tons of raspberry per hectare. And if I say you that average in Serbia is between 10 and 15 tons, then you can understand what we are doing there. And it's not just the volume, it's the quality, it's the plant protection program. It's a lot of different things that we integrated into our production. Now to get back to the UK, why we started that, because a couple of years ago, I would say in 2017, our business with UK was zero, not existing, and then we started slowly, talking, negotiating. It took about 2 years for first volumes to be delivered, and as previously Simon and Mike mentioned, once we got the buyers, or partners to our facility, and when they could saw our product, it was, easier from that moment, and we were able to then talk with them and talk what is the new thing, what is the perspective, and that's one of the reasons why we started with this project. Now I started directly replying. A lot of people here don't know, so I would just go back, tell you a little bit about our company. We are a frozen fruit producer. We are located in Arilje, and in our region there are a couple of very successful companies that are exporting already to UK market. And I must say that in frozen fruits, we are already at a very high level of business. I'm not talking just about our company, but as a whole, as a Serbia, 5 to 10 companies are really top and are exporting worldwide. Serbia is the biggest exporter of the best berries in the world. I think we have a great potential there. In terms of, because, Simon said so many, systematically covered a lot of areas. So I would speak a little bit more about our experience into, entering the UK market and challenges we were facing. To begin with, last year, to have an idea, we exported about 4 million bags or SKUs there. So what does that mean? That means that we have 4 million quality controls, 4 million consumers that are buying our fruits that we produce. That's why the focus needs to be on the product, and we are focused on product and on pricing and on all of the aspects that you need to have something special to offer to the market. You cannot just say, okay, I have a good product. Yes, but where are the other things? Once we have the product, and we knew we had the product all these years, our business model was to go to the food shows and to exhibitions, what we also mentioned previously. We are constantly traveling, going around the world to see what's new, what's trending. We talk with with the clients, with the competitors, with the regulators, with everybody. Just this year, we were already on exhibitions in Dubai, in Lisbon, in New York, in Amsterdam. We still need to go to Paris, Chicago. So it's a world business, so once we bring clients to Serbia and we show them our facility, we usually get the reaction as you had, Jadranka, being surprised at how everything.
It was fascinating technology and everything, production. I couldn't believe. I mean, I believe, but
yeah,
fabulous.
Excellent. But it's important to not to skip steps in this project, and I'm talking to the companies that are starting export. UK is the top, the top of the market in the world, one of the most demanding market in the world. And when I say not to skip steps, I say first you should start locally, sell on the markets that are similar to ours, then to export to the nearby market, do the market research, and everything was what Simon was mentioning, and then let's say attack the UK or other developed market. As I said, we needed 2 years from our first talk till we delivered first draft. So it's a lot of invested time, it's a lot of money, energy, and that's the only way, But as we are doing private label, as we mentioned, private label is 50% of the whole retail business. you know, once you start with one supermarket, it is much easier to expand, you know. Again, I'm referring to Simon. He mentioned that, you know, supermarkets like to have authentic food, and that is true. But also the other retailers are looking, you know, they have the whole team that are scanning what's new on the market, and they look, you know, if they see that there is somebody new on the market, they often contact you. But I have to say, you know, for all the others, I'm not too harsh, but you have to realize that the market and the retailers, they are ruthless, you know. Everybody, and it's not just in UK, in every highly developed,
Everywhere, I think,
you know, market.
everywhere.
Yeah. There is nobody that is waiting you with an open arms, you know, and you have to understand that usually to get some business, somebody else needs to lose it, you know, because in the developed markets such as UK, most of the businesses are developed, and unless you have some new unique product that you can, you know, jump in, then you know, you're in a very difficult situation. Luckily, I mean, luckily we are company lucky, but we are in our whole category of frozen business is expanding, you know, a couple of percent every year, especially during pandemic. We had a big increase. People realized how frozen is good. You know, a lot of people don't understand that frozen berries are fresher, or let's say lived less or decayed less than the fresh berries that you're buying, because frozen berries that we are selling have only decayed or rotten for, you know, 6 to 12 hours, and when you buy something fresh, it was harvested maybe 28, maybe 48 hours ago. So the consumers are learning, they are realizing. We see that the infrastructure is changing. You know, all the new supermarkets that are being opened are have more space for frozen products. You know, of course, frozen category is dominated by ice cream and vegetables and potatoes and so on. But you know, we see our potential there, you know, in growing. And generally, the trend in UK and all of the developed market is healthy food. All of the things that you mentioned here, free from, clear label, vegan. You know, everything there is can be attached to our fruit. You know, and we are using everything there.
So Miloše, can you just tell us steps? Because you've been through all the steps to success.
Yeah.
Still, there is a plenty to be successful, I'm sure. But tell us a little bit, because I know we are busy and we have more to speak, or we have questions.
Yeah.
How could you see, how would you recognize success? What is taking from the field when you really planted that raspberry to be where you are today in 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah, well, I would say the whole quality system, you know, that has to be in place. You know, from the beginning, we had good advisors, you know, who told us what is the best to them. We implemented a lot of different technologies. You know, we were ready to invest. I remind you, our goal here was not the production itself and production for selling, but to show how you know, we can do it and what can be achieved. You know, so let's say the first steps would be to get people who know and understand their thing, then to listen, not to be afraid of making mistakes. You know, because we made some, but you know, if you learn from that mistake, then it's a lesson. And I can tell you now, for example, we are working, we got 6 new fields, and we will test some new varieties, we will try some new technologies. And although we are aware that probably a couple of them will not succeed, you know, we want to try. You know,
you're not scared of trying. You're not scared of trying. You're taking the risk.
Exactly. So the second thing is, once we get the best product, our idea was to marketing and to promote it, you know, to make something special for our client. And that's what we did. You know, we know that we have special product, and the way we promote it, and when the clients saw what we have in the field, their reaction, it was easier to talk why is this product has such a higher price than the other ones. They can clearly see the difference in quality and so on. So how can I say? There is no magic formula for success. It's every day hard work, every day going step by step and advancing. Listening. I think the very important thing is to listen, to go, to travel, to go around the world. We were, visiting fields in South America, in Mexico, in United States, in Europe, in Poland. Collecting all the experiences that you can see. So, but what I would like to say, the crucial thing is to focus as a company, to focus on yourself, to see what you need to do to improve yourself and to be more competitive. And then when you get the product, you have to focus on your client, what the client wants. Private label is very specific for UK. You get the specification, you get the requirements, and either you fit in or you don't. That's
follow the rules.
Yeah, you follow the rules. However, there are many steps in between. When we started, we didn't have the BRC. Probably our listeners know that the BRC is the standard that is required for British market, and at the time we had IFS that was for German market, mainly, and through the years we had so many audits and controls that our here quality managers get used to it. But just to give you how difficult or how big retail in UK is, for example, you have the BRC, the standard that is accepted everywhere in the world. But then, for example, Asda that we were mentioning, that's part of the Walmart group, they have their own addition to the BRC. And their own auditors, and Morrison also has their own auditors. So they come, when you're working, Walmart is the biggest retailer in the world, and also biggest employer in the world, after the US Army or so on. So, when you're dealing with these companies, it's you have to accept what they're asking, or somebody else will do that and be able to work with them.
Miloše, I'm sorry, we have so many questions. We have two speakers, but please, I know you have today visit buyers coming to your company. Yeah. Will you be staying with us in next 10 minutes? Yeah. We have so many questions.
Yeah, I'm here.
Please forgive me. I would like to introduce the two more ladies who are fabulous.
Yes.
And then we'll have questions, so just keep coming. We don't want not once and all.
Okay.
Thank you, no Miloše. Keep your raspberries on the screen, please. They look fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Lilian, dobar dan, good afternoon. Shall we speak which language you choose? Dobar dan, Lilian. Hvala puno što ste sačekali. Želim da napomenem, Lilian, smo se upoznale tako što na tim sajmovima kad smo mi odlazili, sretem Lilian, ja kažem, Bože, kakvi divan proizvod. Lilian, odakle? Kaže, iz Bosne radima, nemoguće. Top kvalitet, packaging, just everything, sve u jednom malom ovakvom divnom proizvodu. Pošto Lilian imamo još i Sonju, ja bih vas zamolila da recite nam više o sebi, recite nam šta radite, o vašem proizvodu. Jedna divna preduzetnica sa success story, ali per aspera ad astra, dug je put do zvezde, ali tako? Recite nam nešto više o tome.
I will speak in English if
of course, please.
Of course, but just to say, first of all, thank you to Jadranka and to Richard, as well as the team from EBRD and FAO for hosting this really wonderful seminar. And as a co-founder of the first ever British Bosnian Herzegovinian Chamber of Commerce, it is a real pleasure to see all these various initiatives that are trying to help businesses from the Western Balkans access the UK market. Just very briefly, in terms of my personal background, I came to the UK back in 1992, so 30 years ago this year. So I very much feel my kind of dual identity as a British Bosnian as well. My professional background is in business, but just about four and a half years ago, I set on an entrepreneurial journey in Bosnia as part of a desire to really give back to the country that I left. And I set up a small manufacturing business with a cousin of mine who had since left the business. And we wanted to really create snacks that were great tasting, but that offered an alternative to the very highly processed and sugar-loaded snacks that are kind of predominant in our part of the world, especially since the opening up of the markets to the Western brands. These sugary snacks actually have a premium identity in the market. So we really wanted to do something a little bit different. Having set up the company and the brand, we were successful in Bosnia and Herzegovina to get listings into the retail chain, the likes of Bingo, Mercator, etc. However, I was always very keen to grow the business outside of Bosnia and specifically in the UK. And so in order to do that, I mean, our experience really talks to a lot of the points made by Simon initially in terms of what the characteristics of the UK market are, but also as Milos has just shared in terms of his challenges of accessing this market. So it is a lot more competitive. It is a lot more demanding. It had taken us on a journey of developing a range of products that are specifically developed for the UK market to have more functional benefits, to speak to what we thought the UK consumer was interested in hearing rather than our local consumers. It had taken us on a journey to implement an ISO 22 standard in our manufacturing. Again, as Milos has mentioned, it is one of the requirements in terms of accessing the market. So we have very much tried, our growth has been driven by trying to meet the very high standards of having to do business in the UK. And I'm sure it's similar in a lot of the developed markets in the EU. We're at the moment pursuing all the three routes that Simon had talked about. So we are having some conversations and trying to access buyers in the large retailers in the UK. We're talking to some of the wholesalers. And we're also preparing to start selling on Amazon. So we're trying to kind of hedge our bets in terms of where we can find the consumer. And we're doing it while being the importers ourselves. So we're having to face with the challenges of Brexit and the much more challenging environment of getting the goods into the UK. So I'm not going to speak anymore. I'm conscious of leaving some time for our other entrepreneur to talk.
There are lots of questions coming, Lilian. I'm sure we've been nearly an hour, more than an hour. Lilian, I have to say, everything you put on that beautiful package is so sweet and very tasty. And I recommend anybody, if you like to be healthy, that's the products. I'm not promoting Lilian products, but really fabulous. Thank you, Lilian. Stay with us and plenty of questions will be for you. Right, there is a basket. Sonia, where is basket? Sonia, are you there? Da se čujemo, Sonia? Here we are. Zdravo, Sonia, dobar dan.
Čujemo se.
Dobar dan, Sonja.
Dobar dan.
Dobar dan. Ja bih samo rekla o Sonji kako smo se sreli. Ja sad na srpskom, tako je.
Možemo.
Pre nekih 2019 imali smo 8-9 kompanija sa USA konkurentno, doveli smo na sajam na speciality i onda slučajno nam neko rekao tamo postoji jedan divan proizvod iz Srbije. Odemo i pronađemo Sonju, pogledamo divno, to je bilo pre 4 godine, došao je Sonja, kako se zove, i bili ste sa nekim distributerima, došao je COVID, posle COVID-a šta se dešava, opet smo bili na FI-u zajedno, puno se dešavaju promene, šta se ovde može reći iz ovog zaključka? Treba probati ono kako ja vidim sa vama, you don't give up. And you have a fantastic proizvod as well, product as well. Please, Sonja, recite nam više o vama.
Dobar dan svima i hvala Jadranko puno i na ovom pozivu i na pozivu da učestvujemo na sajmu u martu, koji nam je, nadam se, otvorio ponovo vrata za ulazak u Veliku Britaniju. Mi se bavimo proizvodnjom integralnog peciva bez veštačkih boja, bez aroma, aditiva konzervansa, znači imamo jedan čist proizvod koji je Britancima u tom momentu kada smo mi bili na jednom od sajmova 2017-18. godine zapao za oko i uspeli smo da započnemo saradnju sa velikim distributerima u Britaniji 2019. godine. Međutim, ta saradnja je trajala možda neke 2 godine i nije se tako dobro, nije se toliko uspešno završila po nas. I ja mislim da jedan od glavnih razloga bila jako loša komunikacija koja se uglavnom svela na to kakva finansijska davanja mi imamo ka njima, koliko proizvoda gratis treba da isporučimo, koliko košta oglas i tako dalje. Nikakav feedback sa njihove strane nismo dobili. U jednom momentu smo mi odlučili da prekinemo tu saradnju. A što se tiče samog ulaska na UK tržište, to je bilo relativno lako, jer smo mi imali sve standarde koji su bili potrebni za ulazak na tržište, imali analize, imali sertifikat o poreklu robe i bez problema su naši proizvodi ulazili na tržište Britanije te 2 godine koliko smo radili. Sada, ovaj sajam koji se desi u martu, ja se nadam da nam je, kažem, kako sam rekla na početku, otvorio neka nova vrata. Tu smo uspeli da započnemo saradnju sa Kuvajtom i to hvala Jadranki puno. To je većim delom njena zasluga, ja sam bila sprečena da dođem na sajam. I tu smo u pregovorima sa jednom američkom aviokompanijom, to ćemo vidjeti šta će se dogoditi. Ono što bih da napomenem i što je meni bilo interesantno dok smo radili sa tom distribucijom jeste da su oni za svoje bajere organizovali sajmove. I na licu mesta mi smo bili u prilici da prodajemo njima proizvode i tada smo mi bili prisutni kao firma na tim štandovima i kada su se takve manifestacije dešavale, mi smo uspevali da prodamo u jednom danu po 7-8 paleta naših proizvoda, što znači da je bio jako bitan način na koji smo mi prezentovali naš brand, našu priču i sve što stoji iza toga, a nažalost mislim da ovi distributeri to nisu uspeli da urade na pravi način i da se ta saradnja završila iz tog razloga tako kako se završila. Ali ne odustajemo i idemo dalje.
Sonja, hvala puno. Fantastic, nadam se sledeće godine da ćete biti na svim stores gde je M&S kada izlazite pa samo uzmete onaj divan biskit kao i Lilijanovi koji zaista u Britaniji, svi smo iz današnjeg zaključka vidjeli, gledamo vrlo organske, zdrave proizvode i pretpostavljam da posle COVID-a nas je puno naučio stvari šta je bitno u životu i hraniti se dobro. Kažu, u zdravom duhu je i zdravom that's right. Hvala puno, Sonja. Ja bih vas sada zamolila, mi već smo duže, imamo jako puno pitanja. I ako nećete da mi zamerite da ja krenem od onih prvih koji su krenuli. Molio bih vas govornik, ja ću vam reći koje pitanje. Samo sekundu. Koje pitanje? Let's start. Da vidimo who is going to reply. Is there interest and space in the UK market for Serbian honey? Mike, Simon? Can you help, Simon?
Sure. Okay. Potentially, yes. Obviously, honey is not a new category in the UK. I guess that's the first thing to mention. I know that's obvious. So, in order to get access to the UK market, you'd need to tell a story about why your honey is special and different from other honeys that are already available. So I suppose the immediate reaction of many retailers would be, no, thanks very much. We've got honey covered. Why do I need to talk to you? So you need to persuade them that there was something special about your particular honey. So in theory, there's always potential, but don't forget, as Milos said earlier on, the shelves are already full. So you're gonna need to replace somebody else if you're going to get access to the shelf. So I guess that's how I'd answer that one.
Right. I have a question straight away for you, Simon. Please, now that you're here, can you let us know about organic and blueberries, fresh blueberries? What is demand for, and raspberries fresh as well? We have a country which is only 3 hours on the plane, day and a half from the UK. We have so many fresh blueberries, raspberries, all those berries. What is your view on that particular products and fruits?
again, there are especially items like fresh blueberries are selling extremely well now. They've been in growth for some years and accelerated even further during the pandemic. Obviously, it's a question of I guess a number of things: quality, logistics, and pricing. I suppose that's the key issue to get into the market, to demonstrate you've got better quality than the existing supplier, either matching or bettering their price. And in order to do that, you need to ensure that logistics are already handled, because they will require frequent deliveries, daily deliveries into their depots for their stores. So there is definitely a big supply chain issue to be sorted out before you can expect to do business with them.
Okay. I will just ask Milos now that we are here. Sorry for the camera. Milos, can you help us? You have some very good quality fresh berries. Why are you not selling them to the UK market fresh? You're selling them frozen.
Well, glad that you asked me, and I mean I can add to the previous question. You know, you have to understand that the fresh business and the frozen business are like two separate businesses. You know, it's different, growing different varieties.
And different temperature.
Of course, a different temperature. And I would say even biggest difficulty for fresh market is the logistics. You know, you have to understand that logistics is a very demanding for fresh berries. You have big multinational companies that have farms all around the world that can have fresh raspberries in January, you know, grown in South America. Then in later in the year they can grow in Morocco. Then in June, July they can have in Serbia, and then as the September comes they can grow to other regions. They are all flown by plane, and you know, unless you play on big, it's very difficult to enter that market. You know,
well, there is something to think about, isn't it, and to do it.
Yeah, it is. But you know, I would say that in Serbia, as our raspberry production is 99% of the varieties here are not suitable for fresh market. It's just different. You know, for fresh market you have to have varieties that can withstand the transportation while they are fresh, and that will stay fresher for a longer day. You know, of course, they don't have the nutritional value or the aroma of the frozen that one we use for freezing, but that's it. The other thing, the other positive for fresh market is blueberry. You know, we are exporting a lot of blueberries. It's for blueberry, it's the opposite. I would say that 95% of the blueberry production goes for fresh market, mainly to Netherlands, you know, France and other countries. And also, as I heard, there are some plans for exporting to the UK.
Excellent.
For blueberries, it's a little bit easier because they can last longer than raspberries, and the logistics, it's easier because the logistics is easier, you know, not because of the production. So yeah, in a way that would be some next logical step. I remember you know, when for example when Poland became the member of the EU, the biggest advantage that they could use is they could ship freely goods, you know, to the UK. They organize transportation by plane every day. You know, we still have to think about borders, about, you know, custom clearance, about phytosanitary certificates, and so on. And that is limiting our fresh market. I mean, that's the access to the market. You know,
well, Milos, we had Alexander today from EBRD. This is what we are planning to do. We're going to see how we can all help and give the hand and bridge all those little peculiarity problems there now, I'm sure, challenges, and I'm sure next year will be on the market. I have the next question because we are in the fruits. I see the question from apples. We went and visited fantastic apple orchard, huge. I mean, tons and tons of production of all of the apples. And the question is, hello, Alexandra, good to meet you today again. Question is for perhaps Mike or Simon. Anyway, we need to help or advice on how to enter major retail chain in the UK for the fresh apples. For time being, we only work with the traders, distributors in the UK. We are 100% ready with all standards. Anyway, please share my experience. So what do we do with the very good quality juicy apples from Serbia and the region? Mike, do you have experience of apples?
Well, I don't have experience on apples, but I can tell you now, the way it would work in UK is, they would need a certain amount of apples. Once they're finished on their shelf life, they would need some sort of a credit. Also, they need a very keen price, to sell the apples as well. And you have with apples from other regions as well. So that's another problem we got. The third problem is the logistics. And also the as well.
Well, it's good. We have EBRD. We can do very comparative analysis between all the markets, competitors, see where we are and perhaps to improve. Next question is for Simon. Simon, I have a question for you on truffles and organic food. And then I will ask Liliana and Sonia what they think about, because they're kind of organic. And so the question is, what about organic products and truffles for the UK market? Is that something in the big demand?
Well,
fresh truffles, products of truffles, all those kind of
truffles, yes. We recently dealt with an American company who produce truffle sauces, for example, hot sauces, and they sell their products at the most amazing premium in stores like Selfridges and Harrods and so on. And in general, truffles is seen as a part of the sort of gourmet diet. So we're definitely interested in truffles and truffle products. I think organic products in general have grown quite well during the pandemic. They've outgrown the rest of the food sector. A word of warning, I would say, though, is obviously you need to have certification approved for the UK market. There's an organization called the Soil Association, who is the usual one to do that. And secondly, we're in tough times right now in terms of the cost of living crisis. During the last recession in the UK, let's hope we don't tip into recession despite the forecasts. But during the last recession, organic products really suffered quite badly. So I don't want to always paint that to be a fantastic opportunity. I think if you've got the right organic products, they'll find a market and more consumers are willing to pay. But also be mindful of those factors too, I think.
I think, Simon, you answered the next question, which is pretty much, I just want to make sure that we answer, says, speaking about organic products, what are the conditions for exporting to the UK? How do we do certificates work? Is there the UK national certificate which has to obtain which organic products might be interested for the UK market? I think you will answer pretty much all of that. But let me ask Liliana and Sonia, because they're in the R part, so they need all certificate from Bosnia and Serbia to have it before you enter the market. Even though you're not organic, I'm not sure you're not, but you are free vegan, free gluten, all sorts of things. So Liliana, would you like to share with us a little bit?
Yes, of course. So all our products are vegan. We don't have any animal origin products, which means that import into the UK is simpler. I mean, for products that have animal provenance, including honey, there are more stringent regulations that businesses need to show. We do, especially under the new Brexit conditions, we do have our products tested for their nutrients, once they come into the UK, and that includes obviously, testing for things that we make claims about. If we want to be certified by the Soil Association or by the Vegan Society, or if we want to have an endorsement of any one of these particular bodies, we would have to go through their process and get their certificates. We can make certain claims about our ingredients, like we can say that we are grain-free, gluten and grain-free, because we do have a certificate about we are a grain-free production. So it really depends on what particular claims the business wants to make. You can say that you're vegan friendly without having to be approved by the Vegan Society, but of course that means that you can't use the tick from the vegan society on your packaging, which can be a good signal to the consumer. So I think you need to sort of really understand what your consumers need in order to trust the product, and how you're going to communicate those values. Sometimes it does mean that you have to get certain certifications. At other times you don't. So I think it would depend on the nature of the business. For us, the biggest challenge is that we don't have, that there is no trade agreement in place between...
I have a question for that next, Lilian. Thank you very much. Sonia, your product is on shelf only 6 months. Tell us how difficult, share with us, how difficult is that for you? Or you're not giving up, you would like to... Can you please remove the Sonia? Yeah, it's fabulous product. You don't want to change. You would like 6 months, but it's not easy to have all certificates for your product. But it's possible. Sonia?
Mi se čujemo?
Čujemo se.
Mi postojimo negde 20 godina i mi HACCP, FSSC, ISO 22000 imamo poslednjih 10 godina. Takođe sve naše nutritivne tvrdnje na proizvodima su takođe potkrepljene analizama. Proizvod bogat vlaknima, proizvod bogat proteinima, proizvod bogat magnezijumom i imali smo analize za svaku od tih tvrdnji koja stoji na samom proizvodu i to je ono što je bilo potrebno u tom momentu. Evo, ja ću se sad nadovezati na ovu priču. Mi na našim proizvodima imamo oznaku isto da je proizvod pogodan za vegetarijance i vegane, ali mi nismo imali zahtev od strane distributera da imamo sertifikat koji se tiče te tvrdnje. I niko nam nije zamerio što to tu postoji, jer u sastavu samih proizvoda također ne postoje namirnice životinjskog porekla.
Super. Right. Ja bih sada, pošto je ima još puno pitanja, sigurno sam da ćemo odgovoriti ako ne stignemo sva. Mislim da je jedan element jako bitan u cijeloj ovoj priči, a to je prosved Brexita Trade Agreements. Ja bih voljela da se moj kolega Richard Robinson uključi. Richard Robinson? Richard, are you there? Hi, Richard. Are you there? Richard, we heard so much about fantastic products from the region, each of the new Western Balkans country. Please, Richard, can you hear me? Oh, great.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, when Brexit happened, there were lots of difficulties how to get into the market. For some countries, took a little bit too longer. Some, they don't have yet trade agreement. There is an issue on cumulative. When you import from EU, let's say, and then you sell the product to UK, or you buy from different countries of Western Balkan, then you put package all in Serbia, you sell to UK. Would you be kind to share with us, where are we with everything? Is it that room for improvement with the UK? I know we're working on that, but please, I would like the audience to hear from you.
Okay, just briefly then. The different countries in the Western Balkans are on slightly different position. So some countries have a new bilateral trade agreement. So Serbia, Macedonia definitely and Albania have working and Kosovo have working bilateral agreements. The one for Bosnia and the one for Montenegro are negotiated but haven't yet been approved and are not even in provisional force. I know most about the Serbian UK bilateral partnership trade and cooperation agreement. The most important thing is that to get the tariff-free benefit of this, you essentially have to have all your inputs coming from Serbia going to the UK. Now that means you can only have what's called diagonal accumulation, which is inputs from anywhere else, including another country in the Western Balkans, of amounting for 10% of the price, which means
production in the production price whole.
It's not entire. It's basically it's the selling price, the declared price. So where it comes to a problem is we'll go back to frozen fruits, which is an example I know about in a little bit more detail. say you want to create frozen fruits of the forest, mixed soft fruit package. If you have to therefore have all the fruit coming from Serbia to take advantage of the tariff-free status. So if you have, say, strawberries coming from Poland or blackberries coming from Montenegro,
yeah.
if it's more than 10%, then you lose your Serbian origin. And so you have but to be blunt, the food retailers are not going to make any allowance for this now. There were some transitional patience where before these agreements were negotiated. And so you've basically got to think about this, from the start, how you're going to handle it. The other thing is that it's normally about total input. So the transformation, the freezing, the storage will count, but there are some parts of the value of those. There are some particular issues relating to fruit that are not included. One is sort of shelling or removing any stones and there are a number of things around. So you've got to go into the detail and understand whether you can. Again, it's the matter of if you're sourcing stuff from more than one country. There are lots of different solutions, but essentially if you're doing multi-sourcing, you've got to think about this carefully. So there's basic questions. Can you change your processing? Can you maybe move some of it to the UK, for instance? Are you prepared to absorb the cost of the tariffs if it's small? Every example will be different, but you've got to have an answer because it will affect your pricing for the supermarkets.
So Richard, you're saying we are working on that, and if anything.
Well, what I was going to say is that for those of you who are trade policy nerds, the critical obviously this is caused by Brexit. There are a number of potential ways round it, and we are working with the British Chambers of Commerce in London, because this is a problem caused in London, about starting a lobbying campaign to try and improve matters. But even if we are successful, we're looking at several years down the road. And so no one should make any assumption that the system is going to change. I'm very happy to talk in more detail to anybody who wants. Contact the Chamber after this seminar, and I'll happily brief you in more detail. But it is something you absolutely have to work out as part of your preparation before you even approach the buyers, because it's about cost management. And
Thank you so much, Richard. This is very helpful, and now all our audience can reach us on, I don't have access to put the email, but I'm sure they can find on British Serbian Chamber of Commerce, there are all our contacts. I would like to say that we have another 10 minutes, and I don't like to run towards the end and then we finish without saying everybody thank you. Before we leave, I think we're going to take so much today with us. I hope all of us. This is just beginning. We all here will have even more. Before we leave, I would like to thank everyone individually about contributing to today's webinar. So I will start from the top. Richard, thank you very much that you joined. Manuel, he's already left. He has to be somewhere else. The next speaker was Alexandra. How did you find today the webinar? Koje je vaš few words, sentences about today?
Should I talk in English? I really want to thank again for invitation, and I think it was for us both your speakers, companies were either our clients already or soon to be. but I would really invite all participants to reach out so we can discuss directly how we can support their ambition and innovation. I think somebody said that definitely innovation is a key word, and that is what we are trying to support. And I also, Jadranka, thank you very much for great moderation as well. But I also think that this is a beginning, that we need to be more
just the beginning. You will have better
more
moderators.
frequently. Yes,
You will
thank
have
you
better
so much.
moderators. Thank you, Alexandra. You know where to find Alexandra. All her details on the right side. And if not, please contact Fao, Milica, and Tamara. We all here. Right, the next one is Simon. You there still? Simon, thank you very much for today. I'm sure you will see more of us, that distant future. If anything else, you at Speciality. We'll have several companies coming to Speciality. And anything from everything you heard today, in a few words, what do you see? How do you feel about our region and the products?
Well, it's great to see so many companies have actually joined the call. That's the first thing, and I hope we can meet up face to face rather than just seeing small pictures of you on a screen. So I know Serbia has some great food and drink businesses because I've spoken to many in the past. I think now is
in the region as well, in the region, whole region.
Absolutely, and in the wider Western Balkans.
Yes.
And now it's about making things actually happen, and hopefully we can chat and advise a few companies to take them a little bit further in the process.
Thank you very much. Well, have a good afternoon, and we'll be in touch soon. Mike, hello. Thank you for your time. What did you take today from the webinar?
Well, it is very good to hear from all the suppliers, and hope we can do some business together. There is opportunities in UK for Serbia to come in, and let's see how we go from there. Be in touch with us.
Thank you, Mike. I'm sure we'll pass all your details to all interested parties. Miloš, we won't keep you any longer. I know the raspberries are waiting for you. So what did you take today? Miloš, we can't hear you.
Right.
We can't hear you.
It was very, very interesting, for me to hear a different experience. Always a good point. I think that all our region has a very good perspective with dealing business with UK. Even better than with some other countries. I know that the quality is there. The idea is there. Sometimes you just need a little push and help from a side, to enter the. Start working, but the entering market is not the goal itself. The goal itself is to be sustainable and to earn on that market and to profit.
This is just the beginning. Thank you, Miloš. Yeah. Stay.
Thank you.
If you don't stay another few minutes, we will understand.
No,
Lilian, see you again. Thank you, Lilian. I hope you enjoy, and thank you for sharing your experience, and wish you all good luck with the products. And hopefully trade agreement between Bosnia and UK will be soon. So all your fabulous products will have much easier reach to the UK market. And are you there? So, Lilian, you there, right?
Thank you very much, Jadranka. Thank you very much for the hospitality of the British Serbian Chamber of Commerce, of putting this great group of speakers together. Lots of insight, really, a valuable time spent, and I hope I was able to contribute a little bit. I look forward to connecting with a lot of people on the call, and all the best for all the businesses trying to get into the UK market. I hope I see more of us.
Thank you. We will share all your details with our today audience. Sonia, you there? Sonia is gone. Sonia probably left, so she's very busy. I know she's traveling to the UK with her products and to see the new. Oh, Sonia, you're there. Hello. So Sonia, thank you very much. We have only 3 minutes, and we will close. So hopefully, thank you for all your good knowledge and sharing with everyone, and I hope you will keep sharing, and good luck with the new market in Kuwait and also with Airplane, and see you in Speciality in September. I understood you will be attending, but I hope you took something nice from today from all our audience.
Hvala vama, hvala svima, drago mi je što sam čula različite iskustva. U septembru se vidimo sigurno, ako ne i pre. I to je to od mene. Ja mislim da sam sve rekla i drago mi je što sam čula dosta novih informacija.
Thank you very much. Dragi svi, ja ću sada na srpskom. Hvala vam puno svima. Ovo je tek početak jedne divne saradnje. Jedini način da sarađujemo jeste da podelimo informacije između svih nas. Nije strašno biti kompetitiv, da se takmičimo između sebe, ali ako svi nastupimo, podelimo, pitamo, sigurna sam da ćemo biti sljedeće godine uspešni. Ovo je samo početak. Thank you very much to all today. I wish you a very good afternoon and looking forward to see you again. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Hvala puno.
Bye bye, prijatno.
Hvala.
Hvala.
Ćao, ćao.